Hi, Brendan here, welcome back to the channel, and in this video I'm going to talk about watch collecting versus fragrance collecting, the core differences in that. And I've touched on this in another video, but within that video, so I thought I'd do a bespoke video on it, because it's quite a big difference. By the way, wearing the old Ghost Daytona, what a piece, absolutely love this one, never gets old. But yeah, so watch collecting versus fragrance collecting, and the core differences. Well, I suppose fragrances, you can speculatively acquire a bottle of perfume, right? You can buy one this afternoon if you want, and enjoy it. And you can just pick one off the shelf, go, and you can pay £10, £20, you can pay £100, you can pay a few £100s. You can actually really pay lots of money for fragrances if you really want, but I certainly don't, and I just don't kind of value them at that level. And watches, yes, there are watches that are £50, £100, £200, and by the way, insert dollars, euros, whatever your currency is, you get my point. There are those pieces out there. But as you get deeper into hobbies and you get into watch brands like Rolex, AP, Patek, Vacheron, even Cartier, Piaget, Omega, Tag, Heuer, etc., you realise that you're not just going to be picking them off the shelves every week. They're not actually necessarily available on the shelves for the starter, but they're definitely not affordable enough to just grab and go, unless you come from serious wealth, and well done you if that's you. But I think so there lies the core difference, in that with the watches, you're courting the watch, you're stalking the watch, you're learning about the watch, you're digging deep into it, you're getting exposure to it, you're touching and feeling it at collector gatherings and so on and so forth. And with fragrances, you're following the brand, but you can get access to those pieces, those bottles, those fragrances much, much easier. And I think they work quite nicely hand in hand. Hence why I do this channel, because the fragrances I love collecting fragrances, not just wearing them. But I can kind of scratch an itch more regularly with the fragrances versus the watches, where I'll add a piece every few months or even twice a year or something like that. And I might do a part exchange and so on to facilitate that deal. With fragrances, it's slightly different. And that's the other thing, is that generally speaking, watches, you can trade them, you can move them on. And obviously there's a full pre-owned watch market. Fragrances, there is that for sure. You can sell part used bottles. I haven't, but I'm totally open to it. I see people on social media doing that, and I'm kind of like, I need to get into this thing, because I've got bottles that I don't necessarily wear or use that I would probably trade for other brands and bottles that are currently on the list. But yeah, so slight difference there with the fact that you can realise value, and in quite often certain watches will actually go up in value over longer periods of time. That's really not going to happen with fragrances, unless it's a discontinued fragrance that suddenly becomes highly coveted. But it's not really a thing as such. You're buying for you. In the watch game, you're sort of buying for you, but you also realise that because of the values of some of these things, you will need to move them on at some point. Most people do anyway. And actually that trading, buying and selling, is really an enjoyable part of the hobby. That it doesn't get spoken about. People almost mildly frown on it. They're like, buy the watch you love and keep it forever. Simply doesn't happen, right? Simply doesn't happen. You buy the watch you love and you keep it until you're bored with it. That's what happens. And yeah, like that whole recycling and keeping things moving is a really, really active, enjoyable part of being a watch collector. I would go as far as to say, if that wasn't a thing, that there really isn't a watch collecting game, because the price points are so high, it would just rule out so many people from it. It would eliminate people, and the brands know that, and the retailers know that. It's nobody's. This is not a secret. So for me, they both have their place. I love collecting, buying and selling watches and trading, and I love the fragrance hunt, finding, going deeper into that, discovering new brands, new perfumers. There's so much breadth and depth in that, that it's really, really exciting to be a part of it and to learn more. And when I went to Essence earlier on this year in Milan, great way to connect with other brands, to see who's doing really interesting things, and basically to broaden your horizons and your knowledge base. So super, super cool. But what do you think? What's your thoughts on watch collecting versus fragrance collecting? We haven't talked about car collecting. That's a totally different thing. Maybe that's another video. But for now, let me know your thoughts on those two in the comments. What's next on your watch list? What's next on your fragrance list? And in general, what are you enjoying at the moment in your respective collections? Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe and the bell icon so you don't miss another video. I'll see you on the next one.